The huge ocean spreads out without end in all directions, its water sparkling under the hot sun. For most people who sail, the water follows the same patterns, the same rolling waves, the same blue line where sky meets water, day after boring day. But sometimes the ocean shows secrets that nobody could ever think of. Sometimes, in the middle of nothing, you find something so unbelievable, so completely amazing, that it changes everything you believed about the world. This is one of those stories. Life on the water can be dull. Many times you might sit on the waves for days looking at the exact same view and listening to the same sounds again and again. Just ask any ship captain. Ocean life gets boring and tiring. Even though most ocean days are the same, sometimes amazing things happen that will stay with you forever. The Sri Lankan Navy team was about to go through something that would push every part of human bravery and strength. The Sri Lankan Sea Forces work to keep the ocean waters protected and safe. They travel around the waters looking for people who need help or people who might want to hurt others. On July 12, 2017, a Tuesday that would never be forgotten, the sea crew was sailing in their fast attack craft warship when they saw something odd in the water exactly 8 sea miles from the beach near Kokathuduwai, Kokalai. The ocean was deep and cold, so they thought it was probably something that had fallen from a boat. As they got closer, they couldn't believe what they saw. There was an elephant swimming in the ocean. The Navy team felt puzzled seeing this giant animal in the water, but the second they understood what it was, they all started moving fast. The sea officers couldn't believe what they were looking at first. They had never seen an elephant swimming in ocean waters. Whales, yes. Sharks, for sure. Elephants, never. Since elephants don't usually live in the sea, this was a really strange find. The Navy crew guessed that the young elephant had been trying to walk across the Kokalai Lagoon, a water area surrounded by jungle on both sides, right in the middle of an animal park between 2 wild areas, when the water suddenly started flowing in quickly. They thought that the elephant might have gotten stuck in the rushing water and then carried out into the deep ocean. Thankfully, elephants are actually very good swimmers with amazing skills. They're the closest land family to manatees and dugongs. As Joyce Poole, co-founder of Elephant Voices, told researchers, elephants are thought to be the best swimmers of any land animal, maybe except for trained human swimmers. They have big floating bodies that help them stay on top of the water. They also have long trunks that work like breathing tubes, and their lungs have a special design that helps them deal with pressure changes above and below water. This amazing feature is exactly how the elephant managed to stay alive in the ocean. Even though the elephant could swim well, he was getting dangerously tired and fighting for his life. The sea team didn't know exactly how long the elephant had been battling the cruel ocean waves, but they could see the fear in his struggle as he got weaker and more upset with each moment that passed. Every breath was becoming a desperate fight to live. They knew that without help, right away, this beautiful creature would drown right in front of them. The sea team looked at how big the elephant was, and they knew that they were going to need more help. They right away called for backup help. They knew that the elephant they decided to call Jumbo, though wildlife workers would later call him Alia Pulmodai, was in serious danger and needed help quickly. "We need more boats out here right now," the team leader called desperately. "This elephant won't be able to keep swimming much longer." It wouldn't take long before the elephant would get too tired to swim by himself. They chose to bring in not just 1, but 4 sea ships total, along with 7 members of the Special Rapid Action Boat Squadron and wildlife experts. The Navy commander knew this would be what they later called a huge job. They thought it would be smart to have animal experts nearby in case something went wrong with Jumbo. When the second sea ship and the wildlife team members came, they worked together and made a rescue plan. they figured out exactly how they were going to save Jumbo. Since the elephant was way too big to lift onto any of their boats, they were going to have to pull him back to shallow water. "There's no way we can get him on our boat," explained one of the wildlife officers. "We'll have to drag him back to shore very carefully. And we need to hurry. The salt water isn't good for his skin, and he's using too much energy to survive much longer." The expert added sadly, "Elephants can usually swim up to 6 miles between islands, but 8 sea miles in open ocean? That's more than any elephant can handle alone." They knew this rescue would take quite a while, because by the time their rescue work started, Jumbo had floated even farther into the deep ocean. He was now much more than 8 sea miles away from the coast. Since he was a living animal who had to keep his head above water to breathe, they had to pull him very slowly and gently. The rescue team knew that this would be a long, hard process, but they absolutely had to get Jumbo back to safety. The crew started the painful process of pulling Jumbo through the dangerous waters, knowing that every second mattered in this life-or-death fight. Hour after terrible hour passed as they fought against time and the endless ocean currents. But despite their best tries, Jumbo seemed to be losing strength with each moment that passed. The scene was absolutely heartbreaking. The young elephant was almost completely underwater in the deep ocean waters, with crashing waves threatening to drown him at any second, forcing him to desperately breathe through his raised trunk like a makeshift breathing tube. His huge body was shaking with tiredness as the salt water hurt his soft skin. Powerful photographs captured the desperate scene. Jumbo keeping his trunk above the water like a breathing tube while his eyes stayed completely underwater beneath the surface, his spirit slowly breaking under the crushing weight of exhaustion. The rescue team could see the life slowly leaving this magnificent creature as he struggled against the overwhelming power of the ocean. He tried his best to keep his nose above the water every so often to get the oxygen he desperately needed, but each breath was becoming harder, more painful. His movements were getting weaker and more desperate with each hour that passed, and the rescue team began to fear the worst. They could tell that he was slipping away from them, his strength fading like the tide, and hope seemed to be disappearing fast. When darkness came, the rescue work continued through the night with searchlights cutting through the black water as the team raced against time. "Don't give up, Jumbo. Stay with us," one of the Navy divers shouted with raw feeling as he jumped from the ship and carefully tied a rope around the elephant's neck with shaking hands. "We won't let you die out here. Fight, Jumbo, fight." Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. The elephant's eyes, barely showing above the water, seemed to shine with a frantic cry for help, but his nose was starting to sink deeper into the water more often. For many hours, it looked like they might lose him. The huge elephant was fighting a fight he seemed bound to lose. Then, just when everything seemed hopeless, just when the rescue crew was starting to give up hope and worry that their 12-hour fight might end badly, something amazing happened. Jumbo seemed to find one last burst of strength, as if he knew that his rescuers would never give up on him. At last, after what felt like forever pulling the completely tired elephant through the harsh waters, after exactly 12 tough hours of non-stop rescue work that started early Tuesday morning, the team managed to bring him to the edge of safety. This huge rescue effort had brought together amazing resources: 4 Navy ships, 7 top members of the Fast Action Boat Team, several Navy divers, and a complete team of Wildlife Department workers, all working day and night in what was called a massive job and amazing escape. With tears in their eyes and their hearts beating fast with relief, they brought him close enough to the lagoon and into water shallow enough for Jumbo to feel solid ground under his huge feet for the first time in over 12 hours. The moment his legs touched the ocean bottom, the brave elephant found his last bit of strength to walk the remaining distance to shore, each step showing his amazing will to live. After the successful rescue late Tuesday night, the completely worn-out and scared young elephant was officially given to wildlife workers for immediate medical care and checking. Though exact details of his medical condition were kept secret, officials said that despite his frightening 12-hour experience in salt water, which could have badly hurt his delicate skin, Jumbo was reported to be in surprisingly good health. He was then released into the safe care of the Foul Point jungle in the Trincomalee area, where he could finally fall down and heal from the most scary experience of his life. They knew that once he reached his safe home, he would probably sleep for many hours, maybe days, to recover from this nightmare that almost cost him everything. When reporters asked about the rescue, Navy spokesman Chaminda Walakuluzi said it was really lucky that they happened to be on a patrol mission in that exact part of the ocean. "We were just in the right place at exactly the right time," the officer told journalists. "They usually walk through shallow waters or even swim across to take a shortcut. It is an amazing escape for the elephant. Our missions take us to different parts of the Indian Ocean, and we just happened to be where this elephant was fighting to survive," he added with feeling. They said it was truly a case of perfect timing and incredible luck. Thankfully, the elephant they called Jumbo made it safely back to the shore. What made this rescue even more amazing was that Asian elephants like this beautiful male are a threatened species. These powerful giants can weigh anywhere from 4,400 to 12,000 pounds and stand up to 10 feet tall at their shoulders. Yet only 2,500 to 4,000 of them have survived in all of Sri Lanka. Their population has faced a terrible decline, from 10,000 at the start of the 20th century to fewer than 2,000 by 1993, though conservation efforts have slowly brought the numbers back to about 6,000 today. Still, their population in Sri Lanka has sadly dropped by 65% since the early 1800s, making every single life precious. In fact, killing a Sri Lankan elephant is punishable by death under local law, showing just how valuable these beautiful creatures are to the nation. This wasn't the first time an elephant had shown incredible swimming abilities. Rajan, a famous 66-year-old Indian elephant who had died the year before, was celebrated on YouTube and in movies for his amazing swimming skills, moving smoothly through water despite weighing 12,000 pounds. And this wasn't the only dramatic wildlife rescue that year. Just months earlier in May, the same naval forces and local people had mounted an equally heroic mission to save a group of 20 pilot whales that had become stuck in the same Trincomalee waters. Just 2 weeks later, this same naval team would face another crisis when 2 more elephants were swept out to sea in the same area, proving that Jumbo's rescue was not just lucky timing, but part of a growing challenge for these beautiful creatures in this diverse but dangerous region. Who could ever imagine finding an elephant swimming far out in the ocean? Did you enjoy this story? If you saw an elephant swimming alone in the deep ocean, would you risk everything to save it? Or would you think it was too dangerous to try? Let us know in the comments below. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy, but it's always worth it. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.